my sister, that hotel, the two hotels have over 100 workers that may have lost their job. And as I speak to you now, those people are jobless and the state government has not produced any job. Since the inception of this government, the only job they have produced is the job that will send task force to the road to go and also intimidate, harass, and unleash mayhem on the people of River State. As I am telling you that in as much as Serap and all well-meaning Nigerians has taken to cognizance that the governor has actually committed crime against humanity, he has trampled upon the constitution of this land.
It's on in the executive order, yeah. So, the senior advocate said, if you feel it is wrong, why not go and challenge it in court?
Listen, now.
If you're trying to look at it from a human face angle, then that's different.
If Serap can go to court, other well-meaning lawyers has gone to court. It tells you that, you understand, that already he has beaten the drum of war against humanity.
Okay,
he has actually tempered upon human rights, and history and karma will not forgive him as long as we live.
All right. 95.1 FM. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Welcome. Welcome.
My name is Peter, calling from Pefeko.
All right, Peter.
I think demolition of the hotel, the governor did not do well. In democracy, we say majority. At least majority of rivers say that the governor didn't do well. It's only few people maybe who are eating under the table of the governor may be telling you we tried, we have been warning them and they refuse. Even though you have been warning them and they refuse, what you do is you see the place. Maybe the person may go to the court. At the end, either you kill it or you convert it to government property. It's not to destroy it. Destroying it, you assume that you have the total power and nobody have anything to say. And this was the government. People say that he's the governor of the people. He has the mind of people. Everybody will vote for him because he's the only governor to fight. And now fighting, and maybe after fighting and making now, he's fighting even the people that voted him in. And this is the place where people were clamoring to say, we want here to reach it. At the end of it, to look at it. Are we going to do, what are we going to do in this river state? We have to do lockdown, and most people have been obeyed. You go to Opiapod, you say Opiapod, sit at home, don't go out. Port Harcourt, sit at home, don't go out. And the next thing we had was total lockdown. And total lockdown was pronounced as a result of punishment to these people. It's no longer fighting the disease. Now you look at somebody going extra mile to pull down up there. Somebody spend money, hard-earned money. At this critical time, everybody is crying. And for somebody to make money out of it, another person went there to destroy it with executive power as executive governor of the River State. And somebody will be talking of court. I know governor is somebody, he's a human being, he breathes, he reasons. Before you do whatever he's doing, he should reason. What if it was him? What will he say? People should be reasonable.
Maybe if it was him, his hotel wouldn't have been opened. Or he wouldn't have beat up task force members.
Even though it wouldn't have opened, you will not be happy. Even when another governor will come and pull it back instead of stealing it.
Okay.
The only thing he would do, the highest thing he would have go is to steal it and say this is it. Then the person will go to court. He may reclaim it or not. If he didn't reclaim it in the court, he will forfeit it for the government. And simple, it goes. You don't make a law and you implement the law. Just take every down to you pronounce, you execute, you do every down to ask. Everybody is nobody before you. You're a human being for God's sake. And most people you see in River State are even elders. They are seniors. Some of them are juniors. Some of them are maids. You don't, because of wanting a daughter, you are getting to 200% power to yourself.
Okay.
As if you are not human being. You should help us.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. 95.1 FM.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening to you. Welcome.
Yeah, today calling from Port Harcourt.
All right, today. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me say something about the mission of hotels in Element.
Okay.
What Mike did, for me, is not a welcome development. But you may recall yourself, you know that Nigeria forces have killed more than 30 people because of this coronavirus issue.
Okay.
Secondly, you know, the issue of lockdown of the state, because of it, they put down the hotels. That is not a welcome development. But the spirit of abandoned property illuminating the people of Rivers. If he cannot fix this, you just want to show you that you can put it down, because if you go to Ethiopia area, you have a property that is under property by the people. So it's not a new thing in Rivers people. It's a welcome development for them, not for me.
All right, thank you. Okay, the numbers is 08170000951 or 08109510951. Let's hear your eyewitness reports. What's happening in your community at 5.1 FM. Good evening.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Welcome.
Yeah, I want to make a little recommendation about the lockdown and the hotel administration.
Oh, really? Go ahead. Turn off your listening device.
Everybody, we are shouting, Governor, weekend, lockdown. This lockdown exercise is not even against the Bible.
Oh, really?
That is why the Bible in the book of Isaiah, chapter 26, verse 20, the Bible says, "Come, my people, enter thou into the chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until indignation be overpassed." So why is that people shouting as if the governor has done a wrong thing?
So how does this relate to all these things that we are talking about? So you're saying
It's
that
obvious now.
It's
The
obvious,
tribulation is
just
COVID-19, so lock yourself.
When situation is like this, people should understand it. Again, coming to the hotel donation by the governor. Because the Bible also instructed us to obey our rulers and our government. So if the governor instructed that no hotel should be open, or the hotel should shut down, and as a result of their flagrant something.
Hello.
It may be somehow in the case of people, human beings, but biblically, it's not also against.
I understand where you're coming from, but I also know some pastors that would tell you that locking down churches and making people compulsorily stay at home is not the way forward. 95.1 FM.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Yeah, this is Josabad calling from Bakana community.
Oh, good to hear from you. So, what happened at Bakana on Saturday?
Yeah, the local government chairman gave some money. I'm one of the beneficiaries.
Oh, cash as palliative. Yes. I heard it was 2,000.
Yes, it was 2,000. Yes.
And everybody got it in that community.
In my own, I received mine. Others received. I don't know whether it went, but I benefited.
Wow. Yes. And this is outside the initial one he gave the other time.
Yes.
You also benefited from the initial one?
Initial one, yes, from the one the governor gave.
No, not the governor, the local government chairman. I heard he gave palliative to Degema as a whole, but this 2,000 was given to people in Bakana.
Yes, he did. He didn't. That one, I didn't benefit from that.
Oh, really?
From that, but it got to some persons. What I want to talk about is about that demolition, that Prodeco hotel.
Okay.
The governor, all this while, I commended his efforts. Let's be honest. That is why we have a reduced amount of infected person in River State. However, the demolition of that hotel was very, very unprofessional of the governor. Because the manager that was arrested is an innocent person. We are talking about demolition. One of the manager that was arrested is innocent. I am telling you from a live information because this is my close person. All of us are in morning mood now, as I'm telling you. The day of that demolition, that man was not there. He did not sleep in that hotel. The hotel has been shut down as instructed by the governor.
So were you there? Or who exactly gave you this report?
A reliable information from the elder brother who is staying in Element. Any moment he is trying, even as I'm telling you, he's trying to call the line because I gave him this number to call in.
Okay.
So it's a reliable source. He slept with his elder brother. That's breaking the day of the demolition. And these persons who did this came to collect 100,000 from that hotel.
What persons? What persons?
The tax force that said the hotel is functioning, they lied. They came to collect money, passing ground money.
Are you saying the hotel wasn't functional?
It wasn't functional.
The PDP youth president, was he at the hotel?
The PDP youth president is not the owner of the hotel.
Was he there? Was he there?
He came there to make peace. Because of what
he didn't lodge at that hotel?
He didn't. They were causing problems. The information got to him that, look, this is what is happening. He came to that place to make peace and look, what are you people doing? He is the PDP leader and the NMA youth leader. He came to make peace and they started fomenting problems. That was why there was fracas, not inside the hotel, outside the hotel.
So were those guys flogged? The tax force guys, were they flogged?
What was their action? Action begets action. Because they were governor's tax force, they reacted negatively. The people came on the defense and they were flogged. Now, on that premises, what was their aim of going to that place? They came to collect money. And the manager said, I don't have money. The manager that is arrested said, I don't have money. We have been locked down. All our workers have been laid off. You get the point?
I'm listening to you.
After that moment, one of them who called the governor was the one who came and said, look at the manager, look at the hotel that is operating. Why they are not operating? What sort of injustice? Why will the governor not investigate properly before he has just spoiled his efforts? His good effort, he has just used this action to spoil his efforts. I'm very, very bitter. I commended his effort all this while. I was very, very happy. The daughter of that arrested manager is seriously sick. As I'm telling you. We cannot sleep. The mother is old, aged, in the village, crying throughout yesterday till today. She's crying that she doesn't know the whereabouts of her son. An accountant, he's a degree holder, a first degree holder in accountancy, waiting for his master's in university.
The thing now is that I don't know. You're sharing your own side of the story. Like you said, you were reliably informed. You said by the elder brother of the manager, yeah?
The elder brother, he did that incident. He slept with his elder brother in his house, still in Elementary. He did not sleep in the hotel.
Yeah, but whether he was at the hotel or not, he's actually the one managing the hotel. And if there's anyone that needs to answer questions, it's him. But if the hotel was actually on lockdown, how come the task force were able to go to the hotel to ask for 100,000 naira? Why did they ask for 100,000 naira if the hotel? Because based on what you're saying now, you cannot just go to somewhere and start telling them to give you 100,000 naira when you did nothing.
No, look, these people are fond of doing that. This very boy in question who pointed the manager
based on what we know, based on what we know and what we've seen so far, and based on so many persons' complaints regards tax force, they only have an edge over you. They can only request for something from you if you have gone contrary to what you're supposed to do. So if the hotel was actually on lockdown, why would they be asking for 100,000 naira when you're on lockdown?
Let me tell you now. This very boy, I don't know, this very boy in question who pointed the manager and the hotel has been fomenting problems in that territory, which the local government chairman has also handled his matter regarding this hotel. He is always fond of coming to that hotel to foment problems. This is the chance that he wants to undo his cause with that very manager and the hotel. These are untold stories that I am telling you. This is the cost of the matter that is on ground. Sorry to shout like this because
no, it's fine. I can understand the passion you're using to talk. It's fine.
This is vendetta. It is a vendetta on that very boy. So the governor should call that very boy who reported the matter to him. And make his proper investigation.
So currently now,
the innocent man.
Okay.
Because it is a demolished house that they are talking that the manager that is arrested, nobody knows about his whereabouts. How he's faring, we don't know. All of us are in a storm, whether he's dead or whether he's alive, we don't know.
All right. Do well to send us a text message, please, to our number 0701-933-9962. And you can tell the elder brother to send us a message, please.
He's trying the line now.
If he can't call, he should send a text message 0701-933-9962.
I will do so.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
If only we had a very glaring evidence of what he said.
Exactly. 95.1 FM.
Hello, good morning.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. I'm calling with respect to the lockdown tomorrow.
Oh, the easing of the lockdown?
Yeah, the easing of the lockdown tomorrow.
Okay, what about it?
Okay, they said the market will not be open.
Yeah, he didn't say anything about markets. He only said shops, shopping mall, supermarkets.
You know what? Like the shopping malls, there are AC heated houses. And you know that this coronavirus can spread more in an enclosed area where you have the AC. Rather than, it can spread in an AC room.
Okay, so your points now.
You said?
Your points, because we need to take messages.
I think the market should be open.
Oh, you think markets will be better than shopping malls?
There'll be a lot of rush.
Wow.
There'll
Okay.
be a lot of rush. Panic buying, and people will be, together.
In the mind of your minds, do you think people will not go, like market women will not go out to sell, whether they sell in the markets they're supposed to be selling or they just create one makeshift market? Do you think they won't go out to sell? Okay, there's no answer. Messages, please.
All right. This one says, I am surprised when I hear people complain that Wike destroyed 2 hotels. What do you expect from a man people hail as Mr. Project? Is destruction.
Oh, this one he said it's a project, yeah?
Yeah. He said, what do you expect from a man people hail as Mr. Project? Is destruction not part of project?
Whether you're bringing it down or you're lifting it up, it's a project. Okay.
And this
interesting.
What the person said last, I don't think I should read it out. But then the person is Leonard from Alakaya. And this person said the best military regime is worse than the worst democratic government, not in this case. His action is worse than military regime in terms of tolerance. The constitution does not empower the executive with the power through executive flat.
Well, there was just so you know, there was an executive order.
Yeah. Use the building for isolation center. The crime is not a criminal one, at least in from Owerri.
I think the question people should be asking is why wasn't this executive order made known to everybody, to the public? I don't know if you came in contact with it or you saw it. If you saw the executive order, good. But to most persons, they didn't. No, not everybody actually are aware of what exactly is on that executive order.
Well, this person says. Good evening. My name is Charles. I want to ask him this question. Are we in a military government? I'm disappointed at Governor Wike. Well, this person said, good evening. I am ABC Abuchi from Okrika. I'm not happy with what I'm seeing in Rivers State. I'm totally disappointed with Wike. Why all this? Why violating human rights? I thought he is a lawyer. Please, he should... Well, I didn't get that. The governor's action in LMA point to one thing, which is he is above the law. But please, someone should remind him that no king rules forever and Wike's days in the office are numbered. And Rivers State will remind him of his actions. I'm Ida from Eli Parao. And this one says, the governor demolished 2 hotels in Rivers State is... Demolishing 2 hotels in Rivers State is totally wrong. I can see that only in Rivers that governor can become executive, judiciary, or legislator at the same time. Please inform the governor that he has over-exercised his right in the course of this demolition. The governor should have thought on how to fumigate the strategic areas of the state, such as markets, bus stops, parks, etc., and advise residents to fumigate as well. But he lacks this rationality and chooses only lockdown as a protective measure to question the virus. Please, Mr. Governor, fumigate the state, provide hand sanitizers in the public market. All citizens should be on nose mask and relax the lockdown totally. From Ile. And this one says, I'm Honorable Bina Wailichi from Umudemoche Akwaiche. The governor is trying to protect us. Let us cooperate with him. Because God is watching and anything we do, God is watching.
Okay.
And if you don't like what Wike is doing, well, this person's mode of typing message is something else. Good evening to you all in the studio. If you ask me, I will tell you that I'm beginning to doubt if actually Governor Wike attended classes while at... No. This person said, this task force are not helping matters at all. Come and see what they are doing here at Oyigbo, all in the name of lockdown, stealing people's goods. Prince from Oyigbo. This one says, I am gospel from... Oh, well, these are lots of insults on the governor, but we are not going to take them. And this one says, no matter how strong an Iroko 3 is, there is a way of cutting it down. Well, please, we're not going to take these messages. They are all full of insults and all that. So we're just going to have to leave.
All right, I think that's all we'll take for the text messages. Thank you so much for doing Area Talk with us. We have to go. It's time to bounce. But thank you so much for calling in, sending your messages. And as much as you don't like how the River State government is going about, the fight against COVID-19, I think we should all mind our languages. But, Polo, what if I your final words?
Well, it's not that we're saying that what happened is...
You speak for yourself.
Good. It's not that I'm saying that what happened is good or not. But then, we should just live the right way. And as I said, let us avoid them say. Let us avoid anything that would bring you close to maybe tax force see you, or maybe the governor saw that your hotel was opened or something. Just avoid anything that will bring issues to you. Just stay indoors. Just stay safe. Just stay happy.
All right. Just stay tuned to Today 95.1 FM. The news update is up next. And then opinion poll. Good evening.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
Talk radio.
I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
Port Harcourt, are you ready? Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
Officer, take.
Officer, give me number. No time. Ma dey match am. They go.
What? You driving the officer of the law? You under arrest. Let me see your papers. You can go. They're in order. Drive safe, okay?
I don't understand though. No be the same country again. Officer reject bribe. Wanna wake me. They arrest me yesterday. That yesterday, I go do my papers. See as I pass now. I pass without fear. You too, make you do wetin dey right. For we country to better, it dey for we hand. If you like, do like say you no hear am. To give or to take bribe, na offense.
Una don hear am, abi? You hear am too, abi? You hear am well. They themselves, they hear am. Now the voice of the people. Now him bring this message give una. Today 95.1 FM. Now we be the voice of the people.
I am a proud Nigerian. I have been placed here by God for a time such as this.
The degradation, challenges, and problems faced by Nigeria are the perfect backdrop for me to develop and utilize my God-given potential.
I will not complain. I will not criticize. Rather, I will use my skills, gifts, relationships,
and experience to find long-lasting and revolutionary solutions to the many challenges confronting Nigeria.
Nigeria will rise again.
Because I am here, I will leave this nation
a better place than I met it. I will work to make Nigeria a praise on the earth.
I will work to make Nigeria a praise on the earth. So help me God.
Let me tell you how I got this far.
This message is brought to you by Today 95.1 FM, Voice of the People.
Talk radio.
I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
Officer, take. Officer, give me number. No time. Ma dey match am. They go.
What? You driving the officer of the law? You under arrest. Let me see your papers. You can go. They're in order. Drive safe, okay?
I don't understand though. No be the same country again. Officer reject bribe. Wanna wake me. They arrest me yesterday. That yesterday, I go do my papers. See as I pass now. I pass without fear. You too, make you do wetin dey right. For we country to better, it dey for we hand. If you like, do like say you no hear am. To give or to take bribe, na offense.
Una don hear am, abi? You hear am too, abi? You hear am well. They themselves, they hear am. Now the voice of the people. Now him bring this message give una. Today 95.1 FM. Now we be the voice of the people.
Talk radio.
I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
Still your premium talk radio station, Today 95.1 FM. The news update at 1. The federal government is making plans towards the recovery of... Oh, they call my line again now. Hello?
Hello?
What
is happening? I've not been getting that desired result on my advert placed on radio.
You said you wanted a good place to showcase your products now.
Yes. Someone told me about Today 95.1 FM and I said I should call.
Okay. Just come to Today 95.1 FM. I beg, they read news now. Thanks.
On my way.
Sorry for that break. Still on the news, Governor of...
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
95.1 FM, voice of the people.
And we're back.
Welcome back. Apologies, the world news will be coming up by 9 o'clock, but you are welcome to Opinion Poll on your premium talk radio Today 95.1 FM. I am Butchirafa, and you are my co-host. I can see the lines buzzing. We just started, but like I said, it's Opinion Poll, and all through the day, I think since the day Wiki demolished the hotel at Eleme, there's been lots and lots of reactions regards to that particular one. And we'll be talking about the same thing, but looking at it from a different perspective tonight on Opinion Poll. We'll be looking at it from the perspective of investments in River State and how River State people would looking at everything that has taken place during the COVID-19 era here in River State, all the River State has been a government has been doing to curb the spread of coronavirus, and how the people of River State perceive this. Do you think it would affect let's say the forthcoming election? Do you think it would in any way? Because the PDP is sort of the political party in charge here in River State. The governor is a member of the PDP. Do you think every reaction and every step the River State government has been taking so far, do you think the people, it would affect the forthcoming election? And also, like I said, we will be looking at it from the investment perspective. Before we talk about that particular one, lots of reactions has been trailing this particular the bringing down of the hotel here in River State. But before I move on to other reactions, I'll just love to share the reaction of the hotel owner. So the hotel owner of the Prudent Hotel that was demolished by the River State government's Promise Gogorodari has denied violating any law to warrant the demolition of his structure. So Promise told the Punch's correspondent in a telephone interview that the state government should have carried out proper investigation before demolishing his hotel. The Lagos-based hotelier said that the demolition of 2 hotels was a setback for the state in terms of investment. And he also added that the development was not good for investors in the state. He said, I am based in Lagos, but in his words now, I quote, I am based in Lagos, but I am not in the right frame of mind to speak now. There is nobody who will not feel bad about this. It is a hotel that I built for the past 7 years. The demolition of hotels is a setback to the state in terms of investments. And that was an investment that was taking care of my family and relatives and people around me. There was no fair hearing before the demolition took place. With these many people are out of jobs, I did not violate any order. The government was supposed to do some investigations before doing that. And if they found me wanting, then another procedure should be followed, not demolishing a structure like that. Gogoro Dari said. That's the name of the hotel owner, the Prudence Hotel that was demolished by the River State government. That was his reaction when he was called by the Punch. Well, okay, well, away from that, like I said, there were many other reactions, mixed reactions, that is. Falana reacted, and he said that he actually described the action of the River State governor on the demolition of the 2 hotels in Eleme local government area of the state as a colossal embarrassment to the Nigerian Bar Association. Falana spoke with in an interview with our correspondent Victor Iziama. He said that the senior advocate of Nigeria said no executive order gives any governor in Nigeria the power to demolish the property of alleged offenders. Take a listen to what Femi Falana had to say.
It is unfortunate that these developments are taking place in Port Harcourt, where the governor of the state is a senior lawyer, and not just a senior lawyer. I'm even informed that he's a member of the body of benchers. That is an embarrassment, a colossal embarrassment to the Nigerian Bar Association, because under our law, the Quarantine Act does not permit the demolition of a house by an alleged offender. Whoever has breached the law will have to be charged before a court, will have to go through a trial and be convicted by a court of law before a sentence can be pronounced. There's no provision, no governor, even the president has no powers to take the law into his hands and then begin to mete out punishment to citizens who has not been found guilty by a court of law in our country. So we hope that the governor will be properly advised to revive these illegal decisions and, publicly apologize and restore the properties of those that have been destroyed. Everybody will have to go through a normal judicial process. That is what the rule of law is all about.
All right, that was Falana's reaction during the interview with our correspondent, Victor Iziama. Contrary to what Falana had to say, the former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, Chief OCJ Okocha, he backed the River State governor, that's Governor Nyesom Wike, on the demolition of the 2 hotels in the state for flouting the lockdown directive. Now, the senior advocates of Nigeria advise anyone who is uncomfortable with the executive order to approach the courts. This was in an interview. The senior lawyer lauded the steps taken by the River State governor to fight coronavirus, as well as thought out and well advised, stressing that the steps will help check the spread of coronavirus. He said Governor Wike was right to have demolished the 2 hotels, given the several warnings to hoteliers not to operate within the period. Okocha advised Rivers people to be patient with the state government in its efforts to contain the spread of the pandemic in the state and also observe the necessary protocols put in place to fight COVID-19. Well, that's not all. The River State governor, Senator Magnus Abe, in his own reaction, warned that weakest measures to fight against the spread of coronavirus will prove counterproductive if he fails to give his policies a human face. Abe represented Rivers South East Senatorial District in the 8th National Assembly. He said the war against the pandemic is fundamentally about collective humanity and therefore must be fought on strictly human and just terms. Senator Abe in the statement said that the demolition and auction of private property, the closure of all sources of survival for citizens of Rivers State without a due consideration to their means of sustenance in the name of the battle against COVID-19 are draconian measures that will prove counterproductive in the long run. That's Abe's reaction. And like I said, so many persons have reacted. I gave you the reaction of the owner of the hotel, Gogo Rubani, promise how he reacted to what happened to his hotel. He said he did nothing wrong. If you had listened to Area Talk much earlier, before we wrapped up the program, someone called in and said he was reliably informed by a family member to the manager of that hotel and said, well, they didn't do nothing wrong. But the question we kept asking that I really didn't get a definite answer from, was the hotel opened or not? I think that's the basic question there. Was it opened or not? No matter what transpired after that, because he is claiming that a task force is alleging that the task force members came to the hotel to take a particular sum of money, about 100,000 naira. But the initial thing is, was the hotel opened or not? Did you go against the directive of the River State governor or not? Like I said, I didn't get any definite answer. But away from all the reactions, I'm sure you have your reactions, and most persons called in earlier to share their thoughts and what they feel about this. But tonight, the question and the perspective we'll be looking at it from is based on what the hotel owner said. He said it would affect investments here in River State, and it would also affect investors. And that's one side. We're supposed to be speaking to an economist shortly. I hope I'll be able to get across to him. I've been trying to reach out to him via phone line, that is, but I've not been able to. But as soon as I do, we will be speaking with the economist on this particular issue. How exactly would this affect investors and investments in River State, if at all it would have any impact on investment in River State? Before we get across to the economist, would love to hear your thoughts on this particular one. And moving forward, the River State government has always been, governor has always been the man of the people, so to say. He always makes a statement that whatever he does, he is for Rivers people. So whatever he does is for the benefit of Rivers people. If you are doing anything that would not benefit Rivers people, he will he will sort of fight back. If you're trying to do things that will sabotage the well-being of Rivers people, whether it's health in the health perspective or education or however you want to see it, he is always here to defend Rivers people. But so far, do you think this, as a Rivers person now, do you think this is actually defending Rivers people? Because if you look at everything the River State government is doing, or the River State governor is doing for all the lockdown, stay at home, the bringing down of the hotel and everything, the season of vehicles and sending people to quarantine center, all he is doing is for the benefit of Rivers people. All he is doing, I'm sure he has advices and everything, but basically all he is trying to achieve is the well-being and safety of Rivers people. Now, if he's going this far, if he's trying to do everything possible, like he said, no emotions. I think we'll need to take a listen to what he said regards the demolition and the cars and everything, what he had to say. Take a listen to what he had to say. We'll get back.
We equally made it loud and clear that in the fight against COVID-19, there will be no sacred cows, no double standards, and no sentiments of any kind, whether political, ethnic, religious, status, emotional, or otherwise. In the last few days, we have pursued with vigor and secured several convictions against those who intentionally violated our COVID-19 containment laws in the same way other states are doing. The forfeited trucks to be auctioned by the Deputy Chief Sheriff were not confiscated arbitrarily by the state, but by the orders of our courts. Similarly, we acted against the hoteler because apart from using the facility to jeopardize the lives of our citizens in violation of the extant law, the owner audaciously unleashed talks led by the enemy local government youth leader of the People's Democratic Party and inflicted severe injuries on our task force members who went to enforce the law against the continued operation of the hotel.
Confiscation by court order and, the PDP youth chairman and his boys, unleashed so much on the task force members. Now, the question people are asking is, did you investigate the case? And even if you did, how long did it take you to investigate the case? That's the question in the hearts of people. But what if we get reports that, the case was investigated and, that's why the River State governor took that action, which he did? So many questions in the hearts of people. But most importantly, how do you think it would affect investment in River State? Because some investors will feel like, one morning, like someone said earlier on Area Talk, we really don't know how safe our businesses are here in River State. But some would see it from the perspective that, there was an order given and you didn't go with the order. You went contrary to the order. And everything the River State governor is doing is for the safety of both you, the hotel owners, those working, the staff and members of the hotel, and everybody in River State at large. So do you think, and as a Rivers person, like I said, how do you see this? Does this make you feel that, the River State governor is actually doing everything, putting no double standards, like he said, putting emotions aside, putting every other thing that would bring up double standards aside and just facing it like it is? You went contrary and this is what you get for going contrary to the regulations. What are your thoughts on this particular one? Most importantly, how it affects businesses in River State and investors' investment in River State. 0817-0000951 or 0810-9510951. Text message, WhatsApp messages to the number 070193399962. And I must say, if you call in, and I know some persons might call in feeling really upset, but I would love you to mind and watch your languages. If you use any language that is audacious, I would hang up the call. Apologies, but I'll have to do that. So please watch your languages. 95.1 FM. Good evening.
Hello, Buchi. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Hello to you too. How are you doing?
Fine. This is Mr. Sam from Woji.
All right, Mr. Sam, you sound really excited. Good to hear from you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not that excited anyway.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay.
Lockdown.
All right. Don't worry. You'll be free tomorrow.
All right.
All right. Go ahead.
When you see Buchi, here in the street, some persons, they say they are lawyers. But they have allowed pride to massage their ego, and they have exhibited high level of rascality in the area that you see them exhibiting jungle justice with great force by the destruction of that hotel. You see, what Wike did, it was a great jungle justice, because you can't tell me executive order. Now, let's look at it. Executive order, now you claim that some persons, which is falsehood because it has not been proven. Now you claim that some persons beat the task force. Now, what did you do as a law-abiding citizen or one who is a lawyer? You go back and follow the procedure of dealing with those people in law. Now you are telling us that if tomorrow criminals see people should just gang up and lynch the criminal to death or go and destroy the house of those criminals. Is that what the governor who says the lawyer is telling us indirectly? You state somebody beat your tax source. All you did because you have the power, you have all the equipment, you went and demolished somebody's property, of which you cannot even provide a job since you came on board. What job has he provided for the people? And it is so appalling that you see, when they keep telling us about courts here in the state, it's very shameful. Shameful in the sense that where is the court sitting? Whereby he said they went and received approval from court to go and demolish somebody's property. Where is the court sitting? All the time, he will come and do things that are wrong, and he will encounter it with lie and falsehood for the people to, whether he wants to convince people who don't know anything at all. We are not in a primitive time.
All right, I need you to wrap up now.
To wrap up, why am I saying this? Last time, they went and barricade and seal up labor office, and they came up to tell us the other day, the next day, that because they build a house on structural whatsoever the engineer did not do. What kind of lie is that? Today now is coming up to tell us that.
What makes you think it's a lie? What makes you think it's a lie?
My sister, that is a lie in the sense that you, if anything is done in the right way, you would have given those people notice. And Labour said they did not got any notice of any kind that building had issue. And building that was just given to them not up to a year or more than a year. Now you went in the night and drive the security people.
So as a Rivers person, does this make you feel that the governor would go any length to make sure Rivers State people are safe?
My sister, let me tell you, he's not doing anything to save Rivers people. He's just doing it to massage his ego, just as I earlier said, to punish the people. In the sense that, let me tell you, since this lockdown now, when did you see the health official going collecting people's samples for tests? We saw in other clients of within the nation, like Lagos, whereby when they did the shutdown, people were going around collecting samples and making rapid tests to get the status of the people and know where to go buy. But here you shut the market, you shut the people indoor, nobody's going. Rather, you see him going around, and you see that song that they used in 2015 for his campaign. That prophecy has come to pass. Now you see in the social media, wicked will come.
All right. All right, I need to let you go now. Thank you so much.
People are now running for.
All right, Sam. I got your thoughts. 95.1 FM. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Welcome.
Thank you. My name is George. George, calling from Romeo community.
All right, George.
I want to talk about the demolished building at I want to look at it in economic aspect.
Okay.
And the economic aspect of it is totally wrong. So that they are praying for employment, liberty. The government of things which they have not done the needful for them to employ more people in River State. Even the 10,000 that he told us, they have not even started it. And this is a private business that is operating within the enemy houses. Even though you have an order, understand me, you could have think about the modality several ways. There should be several options with this punishment, not going ahead for you to demolish someone's property. Like the thing is trending everywhere. How would you imagine that investors who is ready to invest in River State come to River State to come and invest? It's just because of our behavior. Our behavioral system is too bad. The system-wide system. How you, as a governor of the state, that you need more people to come to your place to come and invest, and you are bringing down people's buildings, that should not be the best on the governor. That should not be the best option. That should be the last thing that not the state have done. Look at now, everything is really trending. Give us employment, you cannot give employment. Agricultural sector that's supposed to be one of the lucrative sectors in River State. You go there, you abandon the Bugma system, you abandon the Romeo rice farm, you abandon several things. Ogoni, you go to Ogoni, you abandon agricultural sector. Employment, you cannot do River State. Now, this is a private business. Coming to employ people in River State, you went ahead to go and demolish their building. That is an history that you have created for yourself. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in, Judge or Judge. We'll go on a short commercial now. We'll be right back.
This is Today 95.1 FM. To copy this tune, press 9.
This is Today 95.1 FM.
For current news and information, press 5.
They are politicians, all of them. They know what they do.
So they know how they attack each other.
To stay connected all day, press 1.
The person who raised the name is the one who made the public know about.
Good afternoon and welcome to the World News on your Premium Talk Radio station.
We are your premium talk radio station. Today 95.1 FM, the station with a unique dial.
95.1 FM, voice of the people.
And we're back.
All right, welcome back. You're still on to Area Talk on your premium, opinion poll on your premium talk radio station today at 5.1 FM. And earlier, I told you we'll be speaking with an economist, and well, fortunately for us, he is on the line now. Mr. Chris Amadi Oyirinda. It's good to have you on Opinion Poll. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you so much for being here as well. So, I'm sure you're aware of what's been happening. The recent, incident that happened in River State, where a hotel was brought down by the River State governor for flouting the directive, the executive order on the lockdown, both on hoteliers and so many other organizations. Yeah.
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 I'm aware.
Okay, and we believe it's Wood. Well, the owner of the hotel said in an interview with The Punch, that is, he said something about it affecting investment and investors in the state. So would love to get your thoughts on this particular one, if at all it would have any impact on investors and how they see River State and investment in River State, both large and small businesses. If at all there is, how do you think it would look for River State, or what do you think their perspective would be like?
From the investor standpoint, the investor can only go to places where they can guarantee investor confidence. An investor can only go where the policies are consistent, can only go to places where the investing environment is conducive. And if you take a critical look at what has happened, it is all in the reverse. The action of the governor, from my own perspective, is very drunk. Very
from the perspective of an economist.
Yes, it's very dictatorial, and if the investor believes that they will not have fair hearing in the event of any issue, it means that they cannot invest in that environment. The environment is not conducive for investment. So investments will flee away. So it's very likely that investors will not find that location, River State, as conducive. If investors, in the event of issues that arise, do not have fair hearing, it is very likely they would not contribute to the environment.
Hello.
Should be measurable, should be such that to define what punishments there are in case of infringement, and how the process that it should follow, especially when you're operating within the ambit of a democratic environment. It's expected that things should follow the proper way. But I think that policy, what has happened is unfortunate, and it's going to affect investment in the state. It has very high tendency, because if the guy who has the hotel is a taxpayer, that is just revenue lost in the first place. There are other ways you could punish
offender. Yeah.
Offenders rather than completely demolishing the facility. Within that facility, I'm sure they have employees who are the Rivers people or residents of the state. And all of those employees also pay taxes. Whatever happens within an economy has multiplier effects. They have ripple effects across the entire chain. Those employees all have families, and they have small families where they also take care of. And that's how the economy runs. So if you, with the action taken by the governor, the implication is that the entire people, the entire staffers of that place cannot fend for themselves anymore. And you have opened up the economy to other vagaries, especially at this time when the entire world is facing, in fact, this is actually depression that is coming in. Because post-COVID-19, things are going to be very tough for everybody across the world, especially for Nigeria, who strictly depends on oil and gas.
Yeah.
If you follow the trend, you will see what is happening right now. The oil prices are very low.
Mm-hmm.
And for Rivers State, where the misery index report shows that Rivers State is the second most miserable state in Nigeria, with a discomfort score of about 47.3%, and unemployment rate about 36.3 thereabouts, with very high inflation of 10.7. So one would expect that the government in Rivers State should show more empathy, especially at this time. The government should be concerned about the well-being of
well,
people.
don't you think he's actually concerned about the well-being of people when it comes to COVID-19 and how it spreads? Because the best thing you can do for yourself is to stay at home. No matter you're wearing a face mask, washing your hands and everything, the best way to prevent it is just stay away, self-isolate. So if the River State governor is trying as much as possible, even going to the extent of demolishing a building, do you think it's actually a good way the River State governor is showing his people that no matter what it is, I have the interest of Rivers people in my mind, no emotions attached, no double standard like he said. It's just whatever is best for the River State people, we go to all lengths to make sure that is achieved.
No. That length is above board. It's unconstitutional. That's what I'm saying.
But there was an executive order.
Businesses operate within the ambit of laws. There are other ways of punishing offenders. The governor could even convert that hotel within a period to even an isolation center. He would have punished the owners for.
But I would want to believe isolation centers. You don't just pick isolation center from anywhere, because you need to consider people staying around.
You could fill the place for a period. You could find the owners and fill the place for a period. I think it's very draconic. The reaction from the governor, I think, is in the extreme. And it will send a very wrong signal to the investing community, and it's going to also have very negative multiplier effects on the local economy, which is already suffering easily, like I said to you earlier. Because it is the second most miserable state from the misery index report. So if you are supposed, as a government, you're supposed to work towards getting your people out of poverty, getting them out of hunger. And what we see going on in the state right now is rather going to lead more people into hunger. Because you need to consider what is going to happen in a few weeks and a few months to come.
Okay.
Because they depend solely on oil. And oil is, in fact, a few weeks ago, the price of oil, the price of a bottle of water is even more expensive than oil.
Mm-hmm.
And if Nigeria depends solely on oil, if you begin to think, ordinarily speaking, it means that we will not have the revenue to support our expenditures.
All right.
So if that happens, Rivers State would not have sufficient income to run the state.
Okay.
So when that happens, it has its own trickling effect on the people.
Okay, so away from
this is not a time to be this extremely forceful. You must add a human face to your policy. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
Especially when, even from what I gather from the executive order, there is no provision in the executive order that says that the governor is going to demolish.
Well, have you seen the executive order?
Huh?
Have you seen it?
I've read it. There's nothing in the provision of the executive order. Meanwhile, it's an inferior piece of directive to the constitution of the country. The constitution of the country is the government.
All right, away from what the River State's governor did and what's going on and how it affects investors and investments here. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I said away from how the investors are part of it and how it affects investments in River State, in just, let's say, 2 or 3 statements, or sentences rather, I would love you to just share with us ways at which small businesses can actually, things they can put in place so they don't completely, go out of business during the post-COVID-19 era. In 3 sentences, please.
Small businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
They should watch their expenditure. It's time to save. They should watch their expenditure. Clearly, expenditure is critical. You must only spend money on what is very, very essential, because there will be critical issues in the globe.
All right.
Few months' time. So they should watch their expenditure.
Okay. All right, Chris Amadio Yurinda, thank you so much for being a part of Opinion Poll tonight. Hello? Okay, I think we lost him there, but I guess that should be all for the now. So we are back, and let's hear from you. You heard from Chris Amadi Oyerinda earlier. He's an economist, and he shared his thoughts on what investments, the ripple effect of what the River State governor did, how it will affect Rivers investments and investors that actually planned on coming to River State for more investments. And he made mention of the fact that, well, as oil, the price of oil crumbles, as terrible as it is right now, we need investments and investors as much as we can get, because River State on its own is one of those states that actually depends solely, or majorly rather, it depends majorly on oil. It's still 0817-0000951 or 0810-951-0951. Text message, WhatsApp message 0701-933-9962. 95.1 FM. Welcome. Good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening. I'm Jerry calling from Wilmington.
All right, Jerry. Go ahead.
I want to comment on the Governor Wike and also the economic impact of it.
Go ahead.
You will notice that some legal luminaries have commented on his action. And it is true. You cannot continue to say that it is because of executive order. It's just like having 2 siblings and the parents say, don't do this. And one now takes knife to eat the other one because they have said, don't do this to the other one. That is what I see Governor Wike doing. If you have an executive order and someone has planted the order, it is the judiciary that should be able to decide the punishment of such person, not to become the judge yourself. So I don't know the world is looking at what is happening in River State now. It's a big insult.
All right. So how do you think it would affect investment in River State? And are you from River State?
No, I'm not from River State.
Okay. But generally, what do you think? What message do you think this passes to the people? Because does it pass a message that the River State governor will do all it takes to defend River's people?
My sister, not as you think, really. All the investors now, they don't feel that the investment is not secured. I do business, I'm a businessman too, but I'm also thinking that when people want to invest on something, and one day the government can just stand up for a minor issue and just demolish their business. So in the long run, it's going to have much impact on the state. So when people know that their business is not secure, they will go to other states where it's secured. In a time when oil is dropping so serious that people should be thinking of other ways to invest in the business, the government is coming out to destroy it that someone has taken time to use. I don't think that's a good one at all. It's not sending good signals. At least they are taking some steps to help guide against this COVID-19, which is commendable. But going on the extreme because of maybe to show that, no, it's not done. It's a barrister. You should know that these are the things that are done within the law. So I don't think it's helpful at all. You notice that after this COVID-19, some places that would have come into River State to come and establish, They'll be very angry and be thinking that if they commit, anything can happen at any time and their business will be lost. That's the implication.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for calling in. 95.1 FM. Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Good evening to you. Welcome. All right, Okwando. Good to hear from you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. There's no doubt action of the governor is a very big threat to investment. Come to look at it, there is nobody that have not criticized the action of the governor, except his political party.
Someone came out to, sort of defend the River State governor.
I'm telling you, trace the person is a member of his party. I want to let you know that
this is the former president of the Nigerian Bar Association.
Procedure Okocha is a contractor to River State government. Confirm, make your investigation very well. It is a very big contractor to River State government.
Allegedly. Go ahead with your opinion, though.
Okay. I want to let you know that if you come to River State, many investors have run away. The governor is seriously demarketing the state. Look at the tourism industry, look at the hotel industry now. Has gone to destroy 2 hotels. It's a threat to investment in business. I want to let you know that the governor don't have the right to do what he did. I am very happy that legal luminaries have even come out to tell us that there is no backing in the law of his action. But I am not surprised because there are people who went to school to read law and others went to school and came out with a certificate law. So the governor should rescind that decision. It's not good for this state. Look at the economy of the whole world is going to come at it. And it is busy destroying investment.
All right.
Brother, my sister, I am not happy about it. I am very, very sad. And thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in to the text message and WhatsApp message portal. Let's take some messages there before we head back to the phone lines. This one says the governor should know that with the kind of things he's doing, investors will be scared to come and invest in the state. Also, even some already existing businesses will all relocate. The governor should please stop demarketing River State because after his remaining 3 years, River State will still be in existence. Ida from Eleoparawa. Thank you so much, Ida, for calling in. And this one says Wike wants people to obey his orders, and yet he has no respect for God and the elderly. Well, like he said, why bring emotions into all this? There are no double standards. This is this, that is that. But well, I guess you want him to see it from a spiritual side. Maybe that's why you made mention of God. But he said, why should people be subjected to pains for, in your words, political? Okay. He said, if I must be no, you cannot be blunt. I'm sorry. This one says, Buchi, good evening. Good evening to you too. Demolishing the hotels by Governor Wike is barbaric. And he said it's laughable. It's the same thing he did to university staff, school teachers. Arise. Okay. That's coming from Gentle. This one says, good evening, Buchi. The measures the governor took in respect of the demolition of the hotel was worth taking because this was already put in place. The hotel should be closed till further notice as to help reduce the spread of the virus. This is fair judgment. If you ask me, I believe it was an opposition party that owned. Okay, well, that wasn't stated. He said, but it's not. The moral lesson here is we should obey. Okay. And this person says, I am not sure that the governor is from River State. Maybe he's from my state. Okay. I'll do. I'll do. The governor is from River State, from Obiabo. And this one says, post-meridian salutations. Buchi, a state of emergency should be declared on River State. Furthermore, the governor should be deposed of the president by. Okay. Welcome back. Apologies for that short break. But still on the messages, this person says, for me, demolition of hotels is like using a machine gun to shoot an ant. All right, that's coming from Edu from Port Harcourt. And this one says, all these things na end time politics. Bible talk say, when the things where they happen, begin to happen, the word don't they go to an end. My name now, Honorable Obina Umwaelechi from Umu Demoche Akwaiche. And this person says the action of the governor is a show of, he feels it's not right. He says it is not seeking to protect Rivers people, but himself and those in his constituency. On the side of the oncoming election, PDP stand to lose nothing. We did not vote Wike, we voted the party. All right, that's coming from Samuel. And this person says, good evening. The governor had no right to demolish someone's days of sweat and hustle. There are other ways of punishing the hotelier, not destroying properties. That's coming from Elvis. And this one says, good evening to you all. Good evening to you too. I go by the name ABC Abuchi from Okrika. Is this government's objective not to protect life and properties of the citizens? If yes, why all this? Whether they go contrary to the law or not. In this case, Wike scored. Okay, I think the River State governor scored poorly. Or maybe a carryover at that. River State governor is not doing any good thing at all. Thank God that he's Onyebuchi Odigi from Mma. And this one says, good evening, presenter. Good evening to you too. I think what the Governor Wike did is right by demolishing those hotels because they violated the executive order number 6. It's high time we begin to obey simple instructions. As for investors, any investor who is not ready to obey government orders should go to lawless states to do his or her business. Thanks, Weke from Iba sent that one in. And this one says, good evening. The governor demolished hotels in Rivers State is totally wrong. Instead of demolition, why not take them to court to portray true democracy? I can see that the governor has become the executive, judiciary, and legislator. The governor who should have called for the fumigation of the state and asked residents to fumigate as well as going about taking unnecessary actions. Governor, please fumigate markets and strategic areas. Fumigation will help in this fight of coronavirus. Fumigation will kill it's not a pest, it's a virus. Okay, I guess you're not talking about coronavirus. It's to kill pests and viruses and others that are capable of carrying diseases and infections. This is what actually helps China. All right. You can see you're trying to do your marketing. Very nice one, though. This one says, good evening. Do you remember when the governor said any information will be given 100,000 naira that one will carry fake information to get the money? Let one... okay, I really am not getting what you're saying, but this... That was from Eno. This one says, so... Okay, that's all we can take from the text message portal. Let's head back to the phone lines. 95.1 FM. Good evening. Welcome to you. Salawes, it's good to hear from you today. Go ahead, please.
They say two wrongs cannot make right. So, Governor Wike, the excellence, is not a perfect man.
Okay.
Man is perfect. That's why you can see our former Chief Justice was removed unceremoniously
So we talked about that one, and that one become a thing of the past. Wike demolished building. He said it's executive order. And the man who owns the building said that he has done something affecting his fundamental human rights. You go to court. It's not something we call and will condemn, and some will call. In fact, when people call, you know the device they are coming from. Anybody, because we say now, people will not value him until when he will leave. People will know that man is really doing a great job. And when people start criticizing you, God is about blessing you.
Okay.
What will Wike gain? What will he gain for suffering the masses, for the River State masses? He will not gain anything.
So, in your opinion now, you think everything he's doing is for the betterment of the people of River State?
Look, he swore an oath to protect the lives of the citizens of the state. So now he came, and because he has emphasized much on this hotel.
Exactly.
He say any hotel I caught, I will bring it down. Not once, I had it more than twice. Some of his brokers in there. And somebody want to dare the government. He don't dare government. So that man should go to court, take the state government. It's not Wike is taking to court, it's the state government. You take the state government to court, and they will be there.
All right.
If court said, Wike, you are wrong, you should pay a review that, you automatically obey the court. So it's not something we start bothering us. The virus is a contagious sickness. It's dangerous. Something that will come into a community and wipe out the community. And somebody is saying, Wike do this, Wike do. Let them continue to criticize.
Okay. All right, Saloas. Thank you so much for your thoughts on this particular one. Good evening to you. Welcome.
Good evening, my sister.
Good evening to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, a better friend.
Very good to hear from you.
I don't know why people always supporting what Wike did. It's Wike judiciary. Wike has no power. I think many of them saw the post of Farano today. Wike is not a judiciary that can take decision on his own. The same law he quoted, the assembly law, has nothing to do with judiciary. Wike did a very wrong thing by doing somebody's investment that can feed the family in future. He went down and vandalized it because of he wants to protect life and property. Wike has a hotel, he has his own hotel. Has it been demolished? His own hotel, is it locked? Is it locked up? He did a wrong thing. Wike did a wrong thing. How can he be a referee, be player, be goalkeeper, be everything, be last man? It comes even China, where these secrets come from. Which person did they for that is building? Even in Germany, America, Lagos, Abuja, have you seen where a governor can go and demolish a property that can feed the family in future? The way the man, the money the man used to be out there, the person may not be there. Somebody is supporting Wike. Wike is a very wrong thing.
All right.
He's a violent governor. He did a wrong thing.
All right. Thank you so much. I need to let you go there. Thank you so much for doing opinion poll with me. But the truth of all this is that whether you feel it's a wrong thing or not, it will all end up in court. And some persons have carried the issue to court. Let's see what comes out if he will be declared guilty and made to, if the River State government as a whole be declared guilty and made to compensate the owner or not. But whether we feel it's right or wrong, it still lies in the courts to make the decision of what happens next. And I'm sure so many persons are just seeing it from a human face perspective. And some are also seeing it from the fact that you cannot be an executive, judiciary and all the legislature and everything. You cannot be. Well, is he saying he is? Or do you think his actions are saying he actually is? I'm sure we all have our thoughts on this particular one. But like I said, we'll finally end in court and we'll see what comes out of the decision, what comes out of the court. Thank you so much for doing Opinion Poll with me. I am Bachira Fwa. The World News is up next. To stay tuned.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today 95.1 FM. Whether it's happening in Port Harcourt, South South, Nigeria, or around the world, we've got you covered. On air, online, delivering balanced news and unbiased analysis. Today 95.1 FM.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News.
Good evening, this is the World News in your premium talk radio, Today 95.1 FM Port Harcourt. I am Butchera for the headlines. Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, and OCJ Okocha disagree over executive order of Rivers State government. Former Rivers APC spokesman Chris Finebone challenges Governor Nyesom Wike to show one achievement of lockdown in Obiakpo and Falga. NCDC approves private lab testing for COVID-19. And on Warrington, 19 sailors die in accident involving Iranian naval vessel in the Gulf of Oman. Now the details. The River State government has announced the temporary lifting of the total lockdown on Obiakpo and Port Harcourt local government areas for 2 days with effect from tomorrow. Governor Nyesom Wike, who made the announcement in a statewide broadcast, said the lockdown will be lifted on Tuesday 12th and Wednesday 13th May 2020 to enable residents to restock foodstuffs and medicines. Governor Wike, who also said all shops, supermarkets and malls would be opened to the public, urged hospitals and banks to provide full services to the public.
And after a consult review of the situation, decided to implement a partial relaxation of the lockdown measures to enable residents to have some fresh air and replenish their foodstuffs and medicines. To this end, I have announced the temporary lifting of the total lockdown on Obiakpo and Port Harcourt local government areas for 2 days only, with effect from Tuesday, May 2020. All shops, supermarkets and malls can open to the public for Tuesday and Wednesday, 12th and 13th of May 2020. Similarly, all hospitals and banks can also open and provide food services to the public, while oil and gas companies are required to submit the list of their staff on essential duties to government. Note that there is no ban on the lifting of petroleum products from depots and other receptacles. The total lockdown on Obiakpo and Port Harcourt local government areas will be reinstated on Thursday, 14th May 2020 and remain until further notice.
The governor also explained the rationale behind the auctioning of the seized vehicle and the demolition of 2 hotels in the state.
We equally made it loud and clear that in the fight against COVID-19, there will be no sacred cows, no double standards, and no sentiments of any kind, whether political, ethnic, religious, status, emotional, or otherwise. In the last few days, we have pursued with vigor and secured several convictions against those who intentionally violated our COVID-19 containment laws in the same way other states are doing. The forfeited trucks to be auctioned by the Deputy Chief Sheriff were not confiscated arbitrarily by the state, but by the orders of our courts. Similarly, we acted against the hoteler because, apart from using the facility to jeopardize the lives of our citizens in violation of the extant law, the owner audaciously unleashed talks led by the Element local government youth leader of the People's Democratic Party and inflicted severe injuries on our task force members who went to enforce the law against the continued operation of the hotel.
A senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has described the action of River State governor on the demolition of the 2 hotels in Eleme local government area of the state as a colossal embarrassment to the Nigerian Bar Association. Falana spoke in an interview with our correspondent Victor Eziama. A senior advocate of Nigeria said no executive order gives any governor in Nigeria the power to demolish the property of alleged offenders.
It is unfortunate that these developments are taking place in Port Harcourt, where the governor of the state is a senior lawyer, and not just a senior lawyer. I'm even informed that he's a member of the body of benchers. That is an embarrassment a colossal embarrassment to the Nigerian Bar Association, because under our law, the Quarantine Act does not permit the demolition of a house by an alleged offender. Whoever has breached the law will have to be charged before a court, will have to go through a trial and be convicted by a court of law before a sentence can be pronounced. There's no provision, no governor, even the president has no powers to take the law into his hands and then begin to mete out punishment to citizens who has not been found guilty by a court of law in our country. So we hope that the governor will be properly advised to reverse these illegal decisions and, publicly apologize and restore the properties of those that have been destroyed. Everybody will have to go through a normal judicial process. That is what the rule of law is all about.
Ofalana also advised the victims of the governor action to immediately approach the court to seek redress. A senior lawyer also advised the River State House of Assembly to call Governor Wike to order.
No law allows a governor to become the maker of the law, the enforcer of the law, the accuser, the witness, the prosecutor, and the judge at the same time. It's not part of our law because it is primitive and we're operating under a civilized system of government which is anchored on the rule of law. It's perhaps to call the governor to order. The governor will have to be called to order through lawmaking process. The governor cannot be higher than the law. He cannot be higher than the constitution. I expect that the Attorney General will try and enlighten the governor accordingly.
Former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, Chief OCJ Okocha, has backed River State's Governor Nyesom Wike on the demolition of 2 hotels in the state for flouting the lockdown directive. The senior advocate of Nigeria advised anyone who is uncomfortable with the executive orders to approach the court. In an interview, the senior lawyer lauded the steps taken by the River State's governor to fight coronavirus as worth thought out and well advised, stressing that the steps will help check the spread of coronavirus. He said Governor Wike was right to have demolished the 2 hotels, giving the several warnings to hoteliers not to operate within the period. Okocha advised Rivers people to be patient with the state government in its efforts to contain the spread of the pandemic in the state and also observe the necessary protocols put in place to fight COVID-19. River State's Governor Nyesom Wike has continued to receive criticism over his policies in the fight against COVID-19, including demolition of 2 hotels in the LMA local government area of the state. Senator Magnus Abbey, in reaction, warned that Wike's measures to fight against the spread of coronavirus will prove counterproductive if he fails to give his policies a human face. Abbey, who represented Rivers South East Senatorial District in the 18th National Assembly, said the war against the pandemic is fundamentally about collective humanity and therefore must be fought on strictly human and just terms. Senator Abe, in a statement, said the demolition and auction of private properties, the closure of all sources of survival for citizens of River State without due consideration to their means of sustenance in the name of the battle against COVID-19 are draconian measures that will prove counterproductive in the long run. Meanwhile, the owner of the demolished Prudence Hotel in LMA local government area of River State, Gogoro Barry Needham, has dismissed the claimed by Governor Nyesom Wike that his hotel was operational during the lockdown directive. Needham, in an interview with our correspondent Uchende Ojowo, said his hotel has been shut down even before the lockdown was announced by the governor. He said he's still consulting with his family, friends and other stakeholders, after which he will determine the next step to take. The River State governorship candidate of Advanced People's Democratic Alliance in the last general election, Ezekiel Waribani, has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to, with immediate effect, declare a state of emergency in the state. Waribani said the call became necessary after careful examination of the numerous happenings in the state, including Governor Nyesom Wike's directive that there should not be a gathering of more than 2 persons, which he said is a sign of his lack of respect for family unity. Waribani, who is also the national president of the Green Nigeria Foundation project, while commending the government for some of the measures to curb the spread of coronavirus, however, declared that some of the orders of the government are baseless. Waribani also condemned the move by the governor to auction some properties of some alleged offenders of the lockdown order.
Dear compatriots, declare state of emergency in Rivers State now. We carefully examined the numerous unholy happenings in Rivers State, cross-examined the leadership and managerial acumen of the sitting governor of Rivers State, Barrister Nyesom Wike, and arrived that the order by Governor Wike, which directs that on no account should there be a gathering of more than 2 persons, is a sign of his lack of respect for family units. Every family unit in Nigeria is at least 6, a man, his wife, and 4 children or more. This order is therefore unthoughtful, unnatural, and baseless.
The immediate past publicity secretary of the All Progressive Congress in Rivers State, Chris Finebone, has challenged Governor Nyesom Wike to show Rivers people one achievement of the current lockdown in the state. Finebone said a lockdown where there was no increase in testing, contact tracing, and fumigation of markets and public places is a waste of time. Finebone, who was reacting to the temporary easing of total lockdown on Obiapo and Port Harcourt City local government areas, said that there would not be any need for another lockdown if nothing would be achieved with it.
Well, as Governor Wike temporarily eases the lockdown in the state, I would like to implore him to please inform the people the achievements of the last lockdown. The reason is that the general belief by majority of the people is that it was a wasted exercise, and their reasons are that any lockdown in which testing is 0, contact tracing is 0, and fumigation of markets and public places is 0, then the lockdown is a colossal waste of time and resources, especially for closed businesses and suffering on the people. Now, if none of these things will be achieved in future, then there will be no need to embark on another wild goose chase or embark on a trip to nowhere at such great cost and inconvenience to the people.
A consultant obstetrician and gynecologist, Dr. Eric Obi Thomas, has cautioned against those calling for protests over the demolition of 2 hotels in the state by the River State government. Dr. Obi Thomas made the call when he appeared as a guest on Today FM's Current Affairs program, Today's Hustle. Dr. Obi Thomas, who is also the director of Total Healthcare Medical Consultants Hospital, said most of the people calling for protests are outside River State. He urged Rivers people to remain patient as the state government continues to fight COVID-19.
People calling for riot from outside the state. That is my major worry. People who are calling from other states, from other countries, that youth should go to the streets. If there is pandemonium, disorder, then government attention will be distracted. And then the issue of distance and all the social area of coping the transmission will be broken. The fact that it has happened, because people should keep deaf ear to people who are calling for riot. They are saying that people are in Rivers State, they are not talking. People are talking. We are here. We know what is happening. So we should not listen to people who are saying that youth should go to the streets. Please. And in fact, they are not even from Rivers State. Some from US, some from neighboring states. What is your business? If you look at the social platform, that is what's happening. Please, Rivers people, this is a temporary situation. It cannot continue to be. COVID-19 has started. It must have an end. So let us use this period to see however the government will manage it. I will give a suggestion, but we should not take the law into our hand and then cause mayhem.
In the meantime, the leadership of Community Development Committee in River State, through its chairman John Onwubualili, has vowed to resist any attempt to stage any protests in the state following the state government action.
I advise those who are suggesting for protest because of the demolition of few hotels in Rivers State to think of something else. As community leaders in Rivers State, we will not allow any form of protest in any of our communities. Now that the world is facing this war against COVID-19, we must obey every lawful instruction given by the Rivers State government. Nobody will be allowed to disobey the Rivers State government in any of our communities.
Petroleum marketers in River State have assured that they will continue the sales of petroleum products during the lockdown following the clarification by the state governor. The state chairman of Petroleum Product Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria, Petron, Francis Dimba, told our correspondent Ivanaya Obema Ndukwe that filling stations, however, will be offering skeletal services, as he noted that his members are at liberty to open for business. Dimba advised all members of Petron to always be with their Petron identity cards and also abide by the closing time as stipulated by the state government.
As a responsible association, the River State Petroleum Product Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria, Petron, resolved to totally comply with the lockdown imposed on the state to check the COVID-19 spread. So when the call came from Ipman that civil stations should open, we believe that was not very, very appropriate. So as a responsible association that has the voice of filling station and gas plant owners in River State, we came up to encourage our members and direct our members to suspend services pending the state government review of the situation. Petron is going to provide skeletal services. Filling stations will be skeletally open to provide sources of power, both cooking power and petrol power for households to be able to stay locked down.
You're listening to the World News in Today 95.1 FM, Voice of the People. After the break, more news, foreign and sports stories. To stay tuned.
Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM. 95.1 FM. Voice of the People.
And we're back.
Welcome back. You're listening to the World News in Today 95.1 FM. Thanks for staying with us. The Port Harcourt Electricity Distribution Company, PHEDC, has debunked reports on social media that it is threatening to switch off power supply in River State. Manager Corporate Communication, PHEDC John Onyi, said PHED is a major player in the electricity industry and will not embark on any action that will cause displeasure or discomfort to its customers. Onyi assured that the electricity company will continue to offer necessary support as much as it can during this period of COVID-19 pandemic, and also appealed to all security personnel in their area of operation to accord their staff members all required support to enable them perform their essential role in providing electricity to all.
PHED, like we said in that release, has never contemplated switching off power supply in River State and indeed any other of our franchise area. We saw the viral social report as a surprise, and that was why we quickly issued a statement stating our stance. As far as we continue to receive power supply from TCN, we will do the same, we distribute same to our customers. So in a nutshell, PHED is not contemplating switching off power supply in River State. It was just an imagination of the writer, and the PHED is surprised and continue to work together harmoniously with our various stakeholders.
The PHEDC spokesman also told our correspondent Ifunanya Obema Ndukwe that the company's officials who were arrested during the lockdown have all been released from the isolation center.
Yes, some of our officials were arrested by the task force people, but they were subsequently taken to isolation center. But on showing evidence that we had a permit, a pass from the government of River State, they were subsequently released.
The Nigerian Center for Disease Control has announced an approval for private laboratories in the countries to commence COVID-19 testing. The Director General of the NCDC disclosed this during the briefing of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 in Abuja. The NCDC boss also disclosed that the guidelines for the private laboratories who are interested in testing for COVID-19 will be published by the agency's website.
What we did throughout this weekend, looking at the response and finding ways to improve it. One way we're going to improve it are new guidelines of integrating private sector labs into the laboratory architecture. So we've now come up with guidelines for this. So every private sector lab that wants to join the COVID testing can go pick up this guidelines that we're going to publish on our website tonight, look through it, define what they need to do to be able to join the network, and we will support them through that process. This is one bit of what the changes that we continue to make every day to improve the response.
A federal high court in Abuja has granted an order of interim forfeiture of 510 million naira belonging to a company, Elio Nai International College, allegedly owned by former commander of the Presidential Air Fleet, Air Vice Marshal Uko Etim Airbong. Justice Ahmad Mohammed granted the order in a ruling on an ex parte application filed and argued by lawyer to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ekele Ihanacho. The EFCC claimed that money formed part of the 731 million naira allegedly paid to AVM Ebong through a company with which he allegedly has a link from the Office of the National Security Advisor without any contractual agreement. According to the FCC, Avem Ebong was the commander PAF between 2013 and July 2015. In the ruling, Justice Mohammed said he was convinced that the EFCC has made out a case to warrant the grant of the interim forfeiture order. Justice Mohammed further ordered the EFCC to publicize the said order and for anyone who is interested in the funds in respect of which the order was made to appear before the court and show cause within 14 days why the money should not be permanently forfeited to the federal government. The immediate past governor of Imo State, Emeka Ihedioha, has filed a suit at the State High Court in Owerri, seeking to stop the Imo State House of Assembly from investigating him over allegations of missing funds. The former governor, in his prayers to the court, sought a perpetual injunction restraining the lawmakers from probing him over the sum of 19.63 billion naira said to be missing from the local government accounts during his 7-month tenure. Ihedioha, through an originating summon, also urged the court to grant him a perpetual injunction restraining the Imo State House of Assembly from inviting him and questioning him about the alleged missing fund. The former governor filed the suit weeks after the Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma announced that a sum of 19.63 billion naira was missing from the Joint Account Allocation Committee of 27 local government areas of the state. Governor Uzodinma had alleged that the money got missing under the watch of the immediate past administration led by Ihedioha. 19 sailors have been killed and 15 others injured in an accident involving Iranian naval vessels in the Gulf of Oman. Reports say the support ship Kunarak was hit by a new anti-ship missile being tested by the frigate Jamaran during an exercise on Sunday. The Kunarak had been putting targets out in the water and remained too close to one. The Navy said the ship was towed ashore and that an investigation had begun. The incident took place near the Strait of Hormuz, a strategically important waterway through which about a fifth of the world's oil passes. To end the news, here is a summary of the major stories. Senior Advocates of Nigeria, Femi Falana and OCJ Okocha disagree over executive order of Rivers State government. Former Rivers APC spokesman Chris Feinborn challenges Governor Nyesom Wike to show one achievements of lockdown in Obiakpo and Falga. NCDC approved private lab testing for COVID-19. And on the foreign scene, 19 sailors die in accidents involving Iranian naval vessel in Gulf of Oman. And that was the news is edited by Victor Iziama. For comments and inquiries, please call 081-5341-8657 or 081-4434-3502. Send your emails to news@todayfmlive.com. You can also read our stories on www.todayfmlive.com. Do not forget to take responsibility. Wash your hands frequently with soap under running water. Avoid touching your face and high contact surfaces to prevent coronavirus. I am Butcher Afwa. Thanking you for listening. Good evening.
Today's news, today's entertainment, today's sports, today's issues. Today on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM. 95.1 FM. voice of the people.
And we're back.
This is Today 95.1 FM. To copy this tune, press 9.
This is Today 95.1 FM.
For current news and information, press 5.
They are politicians, all of them. They know what they do.
So they know how they attack each other.
To stay connected all day, press 1.
The person who raised the alarm is the one who made the public know about.
Good afternoon and welcome to the World News on your premium talk radio station.
We are your premium talk radio station. Today 95.1 FM. The station with a unique dial.
Give me fear.